Okay, students, this is about problems of the lesson nuclei. So, make a list of the formulas before you go through the problems. Okay, students, so let us move on. Now, first question is determine the charge, radius or the size, density of this nucleus Fe56 and 26. Okay, so this we have to determine the charge, radius or the size or the density of the nucleus. First thing is the charge, right? How we can find the charge? So charge of the nucleus is given as Q is equal to plus ZE, right? We have Z. So this is the nucleus Fe. So what is Z here? That is nothing but 26, right? E value we know 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So charge of the nucleus Q is 41.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So we have found out one part, that is the charge. The next is the radius or the size of the nucleus. Radius of the nucleus is given by the formula R is equal to R naught a to the power of 1 by 3. We know R naught as 1.2 femtometer of Fermi, and mass number A is given, that is 56, right? Now if you substitute it, femto is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 15 meter and A is 56 to the power of 1 by 3. So R is equal to, so student, I will teach you how to look into this. So I know everyone knows how to calculate this, but here 56, here directly they have not given. It is 1 by 3, root of 1 by 3, right? 56 to the power 1 by 3. Therefore, how we can check in this calculator? So 56. Now you go on taking the cube roots. 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8, 3 cube is 27, 4 cube is 64. Now 64 is very near to 56, right? So we can find the value near to this is in between 3 and 4. So in between 3 and 4 we have this value. So now let's take for example 3.5, cube of 3.5. So we will get 42, but very near to 56. Further let's try with 3.8. So we got 54, nearly 55, but we need 56. Further what we can do, 3.88, let's try. So we got 58, which is more, which is not 56. We need less. So if you try 3.85 into 3.85 into 3.85. So get 57, but we need 56. So 3.85 is also more. Let us take 3.82 and check. So we got 56, right? So it is very near to 56. Therefore we can take this as 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 15 into 3.82, right? So after calculating this, we'll get some answer, that is 4.58 femtometer. Students, any doubt, you can clarify or ping me. Okay. So this is how we find out the radius or the root. Okay, students. So we have found out charge, radius. Now the density, nuclear density, that is given as rho n is equal to m by v, mass, nuclear mass by volume. Nuclear mass we know or not know, that is 56, right? 56 into 1 atomic unit by volume, 4 by 3 by r cube. Now substituting the values, 56 into this 3 comes up into 1 atomic mass unit is nothing but 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 27, and 4 into 3.14 into r cube. R we got now just 4.58 into 10 raised to minus 15, the whole cube. So calculating this, we will get just nuclear density has 0.231 into 10 raised to 18 kg per meter cube, or you can write this as 2.31 into 10 raised to 17 kg per meter. So next question is, calculate the binding energy of oxygen nucleus given mass of oxygen and mass of proton and mass of neutron. So this is a very direct question. How you can find the binding energy? Binding energy is given by delta m c square, right? Delta m is nothing but z mp plus n mn minus m c square. You can also take it as 931 mega electron volt. I think everyone remember. So for that sake I told you, please go through your whole notes, whatever I have taught you, and make a list of formulae before going to the problems. Keep in mind. So for oxygen molecule we know A and Z. So how much Z is? 007A25 plus N A minus Z, that is once again 8 into 1.008665, and the whole mass, it is also given some 15.9949. The whole is multiplied with 931 mega electron volt, which is equal to, after calculating this, you will get something like 127.56 mega electron volt as the answer. So very simple. Just you have they have given everything, like they have told you to find binding energy, and they have given mass of oxygen, mass of proton, mass of neutron. With that you can calculate binding energy in this way. So next question is, compare the radius of oxygen nucleus with that of helium nucleus. So they have told to compare the radius of oxygen and the helium nucleus. So these two nucleus, we know radius is given as r is equal to r naught 8 to the power of 1 by 3. Let r1 be the radius of oxygen. Let us take as a1. r2 is the radius of helium. Let us take it as r2 and a2. r0 is a constant. Now let us divide these two. Therefore we get r1 by r2 is equal to a1 by a2, right? Or you can hold it. r1 by r2 is equal to a1 by a to the power 1 by 3. a1 is given, right? Means it's a mass number. So 16 by 4 power 1 by 3, r1 by r2. r1 by r2 is equal to, this is 4, 1 by 3. Now 2 cube is 8, right? So 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8. 4 is in between 1 and 2. If you now get some 1.5, so you'll get 3.37, which is nearly to 4, right? Further 1.5 to 1.5 to 0.52. Okay, now 3.5, but you need 4, 1.58, 1.58 and 1.58. 3.94, which is very near to 4. Therefore r1 by r2 is nothing but 1.58 r2. Okay, sorry, r1 is nothing but 1.58 the r2. So radius of oxygen is 1.58 the radius of helium. This way you can solve this problem. So they have, in the next question, the mass of lithium nucleus is this much. Calculate the binding energy per nucleon. What the binding energy per nucleon means? It is nothing but a specific binding energy, isn't it, students? So mass of proton is given, mass of neutron is given, mass of lithium is given. You have Z, you have A minus Z, that is N. So I think you can calculate this by yourself. Just you have to give this specific binding energy is, which is given by delta m c square by A. Here instead of c square you can take 931 mega electron volt. So just a substitution is here, nothing else. So delta m is nothing but zmp plus n mn whole of minus m. This is delta m. And a, you know, what is a? 3 or 7? Yeah, 7, right? So you'll get some answer. In this way you can solve this. It's very easy. Just you have to apply the formula and give this values. So you have m given here and mp, mn given here. Z and n you can find out with this atomic number and mass number. So you can find the specific binding energy or the binding energy per nucleon. Students, be sure, calculate the binding energy per nucleon is nothing but calculating the specific binding energy. So the next question is, half-life of a radioactive substance is 20 minutes. What is the approximate time interval, that is T1 minus T2, between the time T2 when 2 by 3 of it has decayed and time T1 when 1 by 3 of it has decayed? So next problem is, we have seen half-life of a radioactive substance is 20 minutes. That means T half is given, which is 20 minutes. And what is the approximate time interval T1 minus T2 when with the time T2 2 by 3 of it the nucleus has been decayed, and at T1 1 by 3 of it had been decayed. That means we have to find what T1 minus T2 is, where T1 is nothing but n is equal to 1 by 3 n naught, and T2 at T2 n is equal to 1 by 2 n naught, right? It has decayed so much. We have formula n is equal to n naught e to the power of minus lambda t, right? When t is equal to when t is T2, what happens? We have n is equal to 1 by 3 n naught. When T2 is n is equal to 1 by 2 n naught, right? So students, T1 is n is equal to 1 by 3 n naught, T2 is n is equal to 2 by 3 n naught. Therefore, we have the formula n is equal to n naught e to the power of minus lambda t. Let us substitute here. N is nothing but 2 by 3 n naught when t is equal to T2. Therefore, 2 by 3 n naught is equal to n naught e to the power of minus lambda T2, right? Let us take this as equation 1. In case of T1, what happens? 1 by 3 n naught is equal to n naught e to the power of minus lambda T1. So here n naught cancels on the both sides, and let us take this as equation 2. Now let us divide equation 1 by 2. What happens? So we will be remaining with 2. Let me show you. Which is equal to e to the power of minus lambda T2 by e to the power of minus lambda T1, right? So what we will be remaining with is 2 is equal to e to the power of lambda T1 minus T2, right? Now, so we remain with this, right? Now let us take log on both sides. Therefore, log e to the base 2 is equal to lambda into T1 minus T2. We need T1 minus T2. Therefore, T1 minus T2 is equal to log to the base 10. If you want to convert log to the base 8 to log to the base 10, we have to multiply it with 2.303. Okay? Students, keep in mind this, about this, and we have lambda here. Now what lambda is nothing but 0.693 by t half, right? 0.693, t half is nothing but 20 minutes, right? Now if you substitute this here, what happens? T1 minus T2 is equal to log 2 to the base 10 is 0.301 into 2.303 divided by 0.693. When it goes up, you can add 20 here itself. Okay students, did you understand or not? You have to tell me in the next class. When you calculate this, you will get some 20 minutes, because it's 2.6. If you calculate this 2, you'll get 0.693. Therefore, it cancels. Therefore, we'll remain with T1 minus T2 is equal to 20 minutes. This is the answer. So, students, how you can see the log? I think everyone should carry a logbook with you. So, students, keep in mind, always log 2 to the base 10 is 0.301. You should keep in mind this. Okay, this is about this problem. Next question is, the half-life period of radium is 1600 years. In how many years will 1 gram of beta pure radium lose 1 centigram? So, they have given half-life, that is 1600 years. When N0 is given, that is 1 gram, and N is given, that is equal 1 gram minus 1 centigram, which is nearly equal to 0.99 gram. So this many things are given. It's very easy then, right? We have to find T. Now N is equal to N0 e to the power of minus lambda T. We have this formula, right? How we can write this? N by N0 is equal to e to the power of minus lambda T, or N0 by N is e to the power of lambda T. Now log on both sides, what we'll get? Log to the base log of N0 by N is equal to lambda T. We need T, so log N0 by N to the 15. T is equal to 2.303 into log to the base 10. Students, why 2.303 is because we have to replace E by 10. So, in order to replace it, we have to multiply log with 2.303. Now, we know the values of N0 and N. 1 by 0.99 divided by lambda. Lambda is nothing but 0.693 by T half. T half we know very well. Now, 2.303 into log to the base 10 is 1.010 after calculating this, and T half we know it is 1600, so whole divided by 0.693. Now students, I'll show how you should see the log. So this is a log book. You have log 1.010. Now convert this into, take the point to the other side, that is 10.10. Now go to the logbook. This is 10.1. So 1. After the point we have to see 1 is there. So go through 1. That is 0.043. Now this is nothing 10 raised to minus 1. So you have got 0.043, right? How you can write this? 4.3 into 10 raised to minus 3. Get the point here. So you get 10 raised to minus 3. And this way you have to check the logbook. Okay, students? Then you have to apply it. 4.3 into 10 raised to minus 3 into 1600 divided by 0.693. This gives the value of T. In this way you can solve this problem. Any doubt you can clarify. So student, once again I'll repeat. Whenever you'll get some, if you get some log 7.34, if you get 7.34, so how you can see this is 73.40 into 10 raised to minus 1. First of all you have to convert it. Then you have to check here 73. So 73 is here. After the point we have 4. So check for the 4. 73 and 4. So you will get 8657, or you can write it as 8.65 into 10 raised to minus 3. In this way you can check the logbook. Okay students, that was an example. Now let's move on. So next question is, a radioactive isotope has a half-life of T years. How long will take the activity to reduce 1% of its original activity? Given is half-life, that is T years. N by N0 is 1 by 100. 1%. How long will it take the activity to reduce 1%? that is this. So we have the formula n is equal to n naught e to the power of minus lambda t, or n by n naught is e to the power of minus lambda t, or n naught by n is equal to e to the power of lambda t. I think everyone understood this part. If you write this, the minus sign becomes the plus sign. Now if you take log on both sides, log n naught by n lambda t, and now once again we need t, so log this 1 by 100, sorry 100 by 1 will be 100 itself, into 2.303. As I told, in order to take e, we have to multiply 2.303 into t, half-life is t, 0.693. Okay, so t is equal to log base 10. We can write 10 as 10 square, right? Now log 10 to the 10 is 1. So what we will remain is, you can write log 10 to the base 10 as 1, therefore we will be remaining with t. You have learned this. 2 into log 10 to the base 10. Log 10 square becomes 2 into log to the 10 to the base 10. This is 1, therefore you will remain with 2. So 2 into 2.303 t divided by 0.693, which implies t is nothing but some 6.646 t years. So this is the time taken for the activity to reduce 1%. Given coin has a mass of 3 gram. Calculate the nuclear energy that would be required to separate all the neutrons and protons from each other. For simplicity, assume that the coin is entirely made of copper, 63 and 29 atomic mass and the mass number, and you have given me the mass of copper, that is 62.92960 atomic mass unit. So what is given? We have given what? Mass of copper coin, right? That let us take it as m dash, which is 3 gram, and atomic mass of copper is m, which is 62. This is capital M, okay students, 62.92960 atomic mass unit. So total number of copper atom in the coin, that is n, is equal to Na into m dash divided by mass number. This is nothing but mass number. Keep in mind, don't get confused with activity as well as mass number. Both are given represented as A, so don't get confused here.